all psychophysical phenomena, all things that are made are impermanent. So here the meaning is quite different from Sankhara meanings, those that make. So you need to understand now Sankharakkhanda is the maker. During the practice of meditation, you can capture many Sankhara, sometimes wholesome, sometimes unwholesome, Sankhara, Moha, Airika, Anuttaba, Udija, Lobha, Daithi, Mana, etc. And wholesome Sankhara, beautiful Sankhara are 19. Saddha, faith, and sati, mindfulness. So today we go to sati again. Sati is, as a matter of fact, it signifies presence of mind, attentiveness to the present rather than the faculty of memory. And we are practicing satipatthana. You know what you are practicing. Satipatthana is generally rendered as the 4 foundations of mindfulness. However, its full meaning can be revealed by breaking up the compound words into its parts and its meaning these elements, both individually and in combination. Satipatthana. The word sati derives from the root meaning to remember, but as a matter of fact, it signifies presence of mind, attentiveness to the present, awareness, wakefulness, and heedfulness, rather than the faculties of memory of the past. Chattaro satipatthana, patthana means close, firm, and steadfast establishment or application or setting up. So if you combine satipatthana, close, firm, and steadfast establishment of awareness on the objects of observation. So this kinds of awareness is also called sati, is called steadfast mindfulness. The 4 foundations of mindfulness have a single essence: mindful contemplation of natural phenomena. They are differentiated insofar as this mindful contemplation is applying to 4 objects: body, feeling, consciousness, and Dhamma. The Dhamma comprises such factors as the 5 mental hindrances, Nivarana, 5 aggregates, Khanda, the 6 bases, Ayatana, and 6 sense objects, general activities, and 7 factors of enlightenment, Bujinga, and the 4 noble truths. So mindfulness has come to be accepted, translation of the term sati, However, you can understand observing power. The full scope of its meaning we have to explain by its meaning its various aspects, such as characteristic, function, etc. Sati has the characteristics of not wobbling, that is, of not floating away from the object. So the commentators have given the simile of a dry, hollow pumpkin thrown into the water. The cork or pumpkin will pop up and down on the surface of the water. In the same way, the noting and observing mind should not skim over the object in a superficial manner. Instead, your noting mind should sink into the objects of observation. It is like when you throw a stone into the water, it will sink to the bottom. Suppose you are watching your rising and falling of the abdomen. You try to be very firm, focusing your attention on the main object so that your mind will not skip up. Your mind will not fly away. Instead, your mind will sink deeply into the process of rising and falling. As your mind penetrates this process, you can comprehend its true nature. Rising, falling is only just a name. Name is not important. What is important? You have to comprehend tension, pressure, movement, etc. So these are the characteristics of the elements. It is important. Just saying rising, falling is just for supporting to perceive. So the functions of sati is the absence of confusion or non-forgetfulness. This means that the noting and observing mind should not lose sight, or it should not miss nor forget. To understand this aspect, the function of sati is to keep the objects always in view. When people playing football, the player never lose sight of the football. In the same way, yogi never lose the sight of the objects of mindfulness. And there are two manifestations of sati: coming face to face with the object and protection. The first manifestation of sati is confrontation. It sets the mind directly face to face with the objects of observation. Sati manifests as the mind in the state of confronting face to face with the object. So it is said that human face is the index of our character. So if you want to size up a person, what you have to do, you have to be face to face with the person and examine his or her face carefully. Then your judgment will be correct. But if you stand at an angle behind or far away from that other person, then you will not be able to distinguish the distinctive features of his face. In the same way, when you are observing the rising movements of your abdomen, if the mind is really face to face with the rising movement, you will notice different sensation of the rising. Now you capture true nature, true phenomena, tension, pressure, heat, coolness, and movement. When you really pay attention, you can capture these phenomena. So if your noting and observing mind remains face to face with the objects of observation for a significant period of time, you can discover a great purity of mind due to the absence of mental defilements. Now, when yogis practice getting better and better and their momentum getting strengthened, it is very clear that kilesa are very, very few. So this purity is the result of the second manifestation of sati, guardianship or protection from attack by the mental defilements, akusala sankhara, unwholesome volitional formations. So with sati present, mental defilements have no chance to enter the stream of consciousness. Your sati is likened to a doorkeeper because it guards the six doors. The doorkeeper does not admit bad and destructive people. He admits only good and useful people. And sati does not admit akusala, unwholesome sankhara. Sati admits only wholesomeness, kusala sankhara. By not accepting akusala, unwholesome sankhara, your mind is protected. You have no worry, you have no desire, you have no depression, etc. Your mind is protected when your meditation is good, when your sati is strong. So the proximate causes for the arising of sati are strong perception and the four foundations of mindfulness. In order to be mindful of an object, strong and firm perception of it is necessary. As much as your perception is firm, strong, and steadfast, your mindfulness will also be firm, strong, and steadfast. The two functions of perception are the recording and the recognition of formation, irrespective of their wholesome or unwholesome nature. Senior perception is compared to the uh, recording of talks with the help of recorder. The recording takes place regardless of the content or quality of the talks. A clear, high quality recording, such as a state-of-the-art digital recording on CD of a classical concert, is the cause for a clear, strong, impressive listening experience. Mindfulness when replaying the recording. So, in the same way, in the meditation practice, a strong, clear-cut perception, noting or labeling of the arising objects of observation is very supportive of strong, clear-cut, steadfast mindfulness. Another approximate cause for the arising of sati is the four foundations of mindfulness. That is, mindfulness itself is the cause of mindfulness. Now you are developing mindfulness. How to develop mindfulness? Mindfulness itself is the cause of mindfulness. In fact, the development of mindfulness is the result of continuous momentum, one moment of mindfulness causing the next. This can be compared to the process of acquiring an education, assuming that the student is diligent and does his homework respectfully. Lessons learned in the lower grades are the cause for learning lessons in the higher grade. Primary school education is a cause for high school education, and this in turn serves as a cause for uh, university education. So mindfulness leads to ever greater and stronger mindfulness. And then immediacy in the awareness of an object of observation is very important. Nothing should come between the presently arising object and the noting and observing. The arising object and the noting mind should not be separated in time. The observation of the presently arising object should happen at once without any delay. It should be instant as soon as the object of observation arises. It should be noted and observed. So when you listen the instruction in the beginning, some yogi may not understand. When you see, you have to note seeing. Oh, very simple. But it's encouraged to note immediately. As soon as you see, you have to note seeing, and then it disappears very clearly. Another seeing come, and note again seeing. So how many seeing you have to note when you see something? Many noting are needed, and many notings are different, and many function, many characteristics of the phenomena are totally different. Hearing the sound, as soon as you hear, you note hearing, immediately disappear, and you have to note very immediately. It lasts only that particular moment and disappear very quickly. So if your noting and observing is delayed, then the object will have already passed by the time your awareness turns to it. So objects of the past and objects of the future cannot be known correctly because they already passed. They not yet come. How can you observe correctly? And if the attention cannot remain with objects as they arise, then it is no longer vipassana. It is no longer dwelling in the reality. So don't go to the past. Mostly we go to the past all the time. Past episode never finish. One episode come one after another. The whole day, the whole life, the whole samsara, we go to the past. The future, we worry a lot. So objects of the past and objects of the future cannot be known correctly if the attention cannot remain with objects as they arise. It is no longer vipassana. You cannot get reality by going to the past and going longing for the future. No reality at all. So when two or more processes occur at the same time, it is a phenomena of concurrence. Concurrence of the noting and observing mind and the objects of observation is an important aspect of sati. For example, when an object arises, the mind falls on the object simultaneously with its arising, synchronically with it. Now yogi are observing the pain. Sometimes pain, when it starts, yogi don't know. Because before this pain start, they are mild form of pain. They are increasing step by step. So as soon as pain arises, yogi have to capture it. So your mind have to take this object simultaneously with its arising. So upekkha, vedana, neutral feeling is difficult to be observed, but very sharp and intelligent yogi, they can capture the kinds of feeling, especially neutral feeling. Chattaro satipatthana, patthana, the particle part, of Satipatthana specified that mindfulness should be of an extraordinary, mindfulness should be of an outstanding nature, excessive, intensive, and persistence. So in intensive Satipatthana meditation, ordinary mindfulness is out of place. Satipatthana, it is this nature of particular part and its practical aspect we need to know. Pa can also be interpreted as Pakandana in Bali. Pakandana means rushing, leaping, plunging. As soon as the objects of observation arises, your mind has to rush forwards and into the objects of observation with great force, with courage. Even though you do very slowly. Now when you encounter the objects, noting my rush towards the object with great force. Even though very severe pain, you are noting my rush towards that pain with courage. So your mindfulness is very strengthening, and it can capture the true nature of pain. At that moment, pain comes layer by layer. Pain is separated from the body. So your sati attacks the objects without hesitation. At that moment, not thinking, not imagining, not questioning, not considering, not speculating, not fantasizing. So these aspects are involved in rushing. So that is patana means rush. That means sudden, impetus, quick movement with speed or great force. So it is like rushing somebody to the hospital because it is urgent case. The patient is very seriously sick, and it is to rush to go to the hospital. Another meaning of tana, pa means capturing or catching by sudden attack. So it is like the soldier capture the enemy troops in a forceful attack. The object's good or bad, you don't care. You have to capture this object with force. And patana means an eager movement. It is like eager movements of many people to get a particular place of train or plane. when there is battle. So they need eager movement. And it is like a crowd's rush the gates of the festival stadium just before the program begins. Another meaning is to move urgently with excessive speed. That means it is like a person at work. And he may say, I'm in a rush, or in accordance with the saying, strike while the iron is hot. Yogi have to note and observe the object while the object is fresh. It is important to note the object while the object is there. After 1 second it's gone. So it is necessary to take urgent note. So yogi should not be noting and observing in a stop and go manner. The awareness should not be sluggish, casual, not gazing. It should be without wandering mind, with no room for thoughts. Your noting mind should not be in a cool manner. Instead, it must be rushing in a systematic and orderly manner. And how to grasp the object? It is like a rice farmer when harvesting paddy needs to firmly grasp a bushel of rice. Only then he will be able to cut it with a sickle. In the same way, yogi have to firmly grasp the object of observation. Firmly grasp the objects of observation so that your mind will neither slip off nor lose the object under your observation. As your mindfulness becomes steadfast, you will be able to firmly seize cause object. With more and more practice, your attention can hold on to more refined objects and eventually even very subtle objects you can firmly grasp by your mind. So yogi should first try to grasp physical objects, sitting, standing, walking, etc., before attempting to seize the more subtle type of mental objects like intention, thoughts, etc. Another meaning of patana means covering the objects completely. Your noting mind must cover the objects completely, spreading over the entire objects, enveloping it, grasping it in its entirety. Not just a part of the objects must be observed, but the objects should be noted from the beginning through its middle to its end. The beginning, the middle, and the end. But if your mindfulness getting strengthened, you can see more than that. Many segments, many units, many layers, you can see in one process. So in the practical sense, the aspect means that the noting and observing of arising objects should be continuous. There is one moment of mindfulness connected to the next moment of mindfulness, moment after moment. The preceding moment of mindfulness should be connected with the succeeding moment of mindfulness. So you understand your mindfulness should be sustained. So if there is a gap between two floor planks, what may enter, dust, sand may enter. If there is no continuity of mindfulness and there is a gap, mental defilements, daydreams may enter. So in the ancient time, people had to start a fire by rubbing two sticks together. If he fails to rub continuously, but instead takes a rest and resume rubbing later, no fire will start. In the same way, if your mindfulness is not continuous, fire of wisdom will not ignite. So noting and observing or your mindfulness on objects should not have gaps. Your noting must be continuous. It should not proceed in a stop and go manner. People who practice in fits and starts, resting occasionally and then studying again, be mindful for a stretch and then stopping to daydream. They are like chameleon yogis. So the nature of non-self can be applied to the process of noting and observing the arising physical and mental phenomena. Meditators must take great care to watch the object's observation without manipulating, controlling, or governing these phenomena. Sometimes the experience are totally good, very pleasant, and very soothing. So yogi wish to the state. A yogi want to manipulate something, but he had remember the instruction. Don't manipulate, don't control. You should simply observe what is there. You are observing the presently arising phenomena, you will get the reality. Reality is sure. Bhikkhus dress contemplating the body in the body. If you contemplate what kinds of body you can capture. Bhikkhus contemplating the body in the body, which is impermanent, suffering, and non-self. Just simply observe. Just simply observe. Don't manipulate. what you want. It is important. So yogi should simply observe what is there. What is there? There is anicca, dukkha, anatta, asubha, kaya. That body, the nature of body you will see. Rising, you observe gone. Falling, you observe gone. Seeing, you observe gone. Hearing, you observe gone. So impermanent nature is very clear. So long as you are contemplating continuously. So what can we now say Satipatthana is? Satipatthana is mindfulness of every phenomena by rushing to, entering to, or spreading over it, so that your noting mind stays closely and firmly with these phenomena or five khandhas. When you note walking left, your mind enters the moving leg, and that is the movements of the leg. And your mindfulness rush into that movement and spread over it, so that your mind stay closely and firmly on that walking phenomena, movement phenomena. And also the process is then repeated when you note right, left, right leg, and so on. And for other objects that arise in your namarupa. So sati or mindfulness must be confrontational. Mindfulness should leap forward into the present object, covering it completely, penetrating into it, and not missing any part of it. So your mindfulness must have these qualities. Don't worry about progress. Progress is very sure. Progress is very guaranteed. You very patiently practice 1 month, 2 months. It is very favorable time. When you practice repeatedly, you can gain the true benefits. Now there is a story of Parrot. Satipatthana commentary mentioned that people of Guru were so well endowed with a good climate and good food that their minds became mature in the Buddha time. All classes of people practice Satipatthana Vipassana meditation. So if people who are asked what kinds of Satipatthana meditation you are practicing, when you say none, they were reproached. And the people of Guru would teach them one of the kinds of Satipatthana meditation. What meditation do you like? There are Satipatthana many ways. Any way you can practice, they will teach you. Now you know how to practice Satipatthana meditation, Kaya Nupassana, Vedana, Citta, Dhamma, and Dhatu, and also Iddhiyapata, etc. But when they answered that I am practicing such and such foundation of mindfulness, they were praised. Well done, well done. Your life is blessed. Your life as a human being is worth living. It is for such people like you that the Buddha appeared in this world. Your life is precious. The priest, when you practice Satipatthana meditation. And the commentary goes even so far as to say that even animals practice Satipatthana meditation in the Kuru country. So it's a story of a parrot. There was a dancer. He lived like a gypsy. He went from one place to another. That dancer had a parrot and he trained that parrot to sing and to dance. Wherever the dancer traveled, he stayed at monastery and nunneries because at this place he could get free food and free place to sleep. So at one time, he happened to spend some time in a certain nunnery. When he left that place, he forgot to take his parrot with him. So the parrot was taken care of by the female novice in that nunnery. That parrot was given the name Bodharakita. That means one protected by the Buddha. So one day, when the parrot was sitting in front of the chief nun, who was the abbess, the chief nun of that nunnery asked the parrot, "Parrot, do you practice any meditation?" And the parrot answered, "No." And she said, "People who live with ascetics, monks or nuns, should not be heedless. Since you are an animal, you cannot do much, so just repeat. Ati, ati, ati. Ati means bones, bones, bones." So the chief nun recited, and the parrot have to repeat bones, bones, bones. So the nun taught the parrot the repulsiveness of the body meditation. It is one of the meditation. In our body, there are hairs of the body, nail, teeth, skin, bone, urine, feces, etc. They are repulsiveness. This is one of the meditation. So the parrot kept repeating bones, bones, bones. Now the parrot is practicing meditation. So one day when the parrot was basking in the sun on top of a gate, a big bird, a eagle, swooped down, seized the parrot with his claw and flew away. The parrot made a noise which sounded like kiri kiri, and the novice heard that noise, and they said, "Bodharakita has been abducted by a bird, Bodharakita has been abducted by the bird. So they shouted, they took sticks and stones and scared the big birds so that it released the parrot. When the novice brought the parrot to the abbess, the chief nun, she asked, "Hey Bodharakita, how are you? What were you thinking when you were taken away by that bird?" And the parrot answered, "I didn't think of anything else, but I reflecting. Now a skeleton is taking a skeleton. So if you reflect in this way, bone, 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 or skeleton, skeleton, skeleton. So when you reflect in this way repeatedly, are there any worry? Are there any anger? No sorrow, no worry, no anger to the ego. So the parrot answer, I didn't think of anything else. The eagle, now eagle is not taking me, so he will kill me. I'm so worried. No, I didn't think of anything else. I'm reflecting. Now skeleton is taking a skeleton. I don't know where it will be scattered. This is the only things I thought of when I was taken away by the bird. The parrot answered. And the abbess was very pleased and told the parrot, this practice will serve you, this reflection will serve you as a cause for the cessation of existence in the future. So this is a story of the parrot who practiced Satipatthana meditation. So it is important to practice repeatedly. Now how many days, how many months the parrot practice the kinds of meditation, we don't know. But it practiced repeatedly. It may practice bone, bone, skeleton, skeleton. So repeatedly, reflection, repeatedly practice is good for our realization. At that moment, no Sangha, no Parideva, no Domanassa, no worry, no anxiety, no anger, etc. And then if you reflect on repeatedly, senior perception getting stronger and stronger. Now we understand the characteristic functions and manifestations of sati. It is a characteristic of no wobbling. The function is absence of confusion or non-forgetfulness. The manifestation is guardianship or protection. And the proximate cause is strong perception. Strong perception. So repeated practice or repeated observation or repeated sinya is the proximate cause. So we have to stop our discourse for today. We will continue tomorrow. May you practice well. May you practice Sativthana meditation continuously and meticulously by noting, rising, falling, sitting, touching, seeing, hearing, continuously and meticulously. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future. So